Hi, Robin here, looking at legal, moral, cultural and ethical issues. This is for the OCR A-Level Computer Science. I'm going to be looking at analysis of personal information. Now, personal information is obviously your own private data, isn't it? And therefore, if you're going to be sharing your data, you should therefore be able to give explicit consent to that data. And it's important that data is correct and appropriate and not excessive and is sort of meets the requirements just for what its purpose is at that time, and therefore should really be removed when it's no longer needed. Now, with this, when we're thinking about personal information, the analysis of it is how that data is then used for behaviours. So it's common for organisations to look at, say, a customer's spending patterns and therefore to advise and recommend them future products. But it's when that behaviour becomes excessive or inappropriate, and therefore when the organisation is overstepping in how they analyse the usage of that person's data. And again, AI obviously enables this to be done in a much more in-depth way in many ways, as more data can be processed at any one time. And again, how is that being used, and as long as it's not unfairly discriminating against people. Some ethical aspects around this. So obviously there's a whole appropriateness of accessing people's data. It can have good positive things if it can benefit healthcare or if it can benefit security, but equally if it's invading people's privacy, that's going to have a negative impact and therefore not bode well and kind of cause hurt or upset and stress to people. Again, making sure that people have given their consent to the data and it isn't just been taken from them against their will. Other aspects about the misuse of that data, so just because people have got access to data doesn't mean they should be allowed to manipulate that data or to change that data in any way. And again, make assumptions or in-depth analysis based on that data that they can then use in a misinformation way. Again, if we're going to use AI for decision making, it should therefore have some sort of human oversight to check that is that appropriate, is it kind of acting in an acceptable manner. Or the moral things around this about how data has value ultimately, and therefore if it's going to have value, how is it being used? Is it being protected? And sort of when is the individual's data, when can they be sort of take control of that data? So the right to be forgotten, for example, is a powerful aspect within this. So if you buy a product from a company, particularly online, you've shared therefore your name, address and your bank details. Well, once that transaction is finished, you should be able to be forgotten. They shouldn't be able to use you as evidence that certain products are being bought by certain customers in certain ways. Therefore, there's no sort of profiling of you allowed. It's gone. You're no longer used. And therefore making sure that that's being policed appropriately and that any predictive aspects or kind of the way that policing happens and the use of data within that, again, is appropriate and not, again, unfair or discriminatory in any way. There are cultural, again, aspects to this and different attitudes, again, around the world about their appropriate use of sort of data and about how you analyse people and what they're doing. It can be used for social control, for example. It can be used to sort of influence people's political and religious beliefs. And again, kind of when's that appropriate and when's it not? Obviously, for advertising and kind of consumer behaviour, the more you understand about your customer, the better. And therefore, you could argue that we're getting better adverts, we're getting better targeted products, and therefore those products are actually better and suit that person better as a result of it. Without this analysis, you wouldn't be able to do that. Versus, well, actually, are you just being intrusive and are you being kind of manipulative of that person about how their data is being used almost against them in many ways. Okay, well, thank you for watching. I hope you found that useful. Please do like and subscribe, help me to help others, and I'll hopefully see you again.